stuff like clouds look flat. Let's see. Maybe they'd have a little bit of like gold. Oops, that's not it. Gold in them? Glowing? You'll lock the layer, then add the gold, like that. No, I don't like the gold. Um, let's see. My lasso tool and kind of lead it up here, and that can be one way I control the texture brush a little bit. You know, I'm using it, but I'm not letting it go wherever. Still get some of the texture, but we keep a little bit of the hard edged line of the puffy cloud bits. Um, there we go. Another thing in this, there should be a little bit of bounce light. So we have the key light. You can't see that. You have the key light at the top right there. There actually is a little bit of like cooler bounce light just from I think the sky on the side where the light isn't touching, and it's not as bright. Um, it's not as bright, but it is present. So uh, let's actually take the gradient tool again. And this texture that I'm adding to the edges, I'll also have to add to the inside, because it's not like the cloud is only fluffy on the exterior. It's got lots of fluff internally. Like the whole thing is just a weird, liquidy, smoky mass. You know, I find myself looking at clouds all the time, and I still don't know how to draw them. It's weird. It's weird. Draw this a little bit lighter too. I might be going a little too much on this texture. Um, it's really hard to say. I'm not super comfortable with texture brushes yet. I don't know how much is too far. How much makes it stop looking designed. How much of it makes it look like I'm letting the texture brush do all the thinking for me. And I think that stuff like this is good practice. Some of the bounce light is going to end up on the bottom of the cloud. Uh, so it wouldn't be a lot just because the cloud is very far away from whatever the light is bouncing off of, which would be the ground. But there'd be just a little bit of very light bounce light, so it would affect the color just a little bit, particularly in clouds that are closer up uh, towards this character where the viewer is sitting. Um, I don't think there's this dark brown light in the photo texture because we're not seeing the ground part of or the bottom part of the cloud because you know I took it from a plane, so I kind of have to be inventive, which was not the point of the assignment. I'm just sort of going off the cuff because that's just the kind of person I am, I guess. I rush into things a lot. Like I am an analytical person, but I'm not a patient person. So planning for paintings is really hard. It makes them turn out really well. Like I love some of my favorite paintings that I've done have been the ones that I've spent a lot of time planning for. It's just that I don't enjoy planning as much as I enjoy painting. So even though I know that it'll be better, sometimes I'm just like, well, I think I'll just jump in and do this. That's why these clouds kind of look like how they do is because I didn't really plan them out that far in advance, so the colors aren't quite right. The shape is a little bit strange. That's all part of practice, I think. I just want my practice, to be mindful, to be helpful. I don't want to practice bad habits, like getting brushy, getting caught up in small things. Let's see. This cloud, maybe we'll give it a bigger, like a bigger stamp of this, because it's in the background. That. So the texture's not as fine. I don't want it to completely go away right here. Oops. I don't want it to completely go away. You do want some smokiness to it, because as the cloud thins out, you're going to have more parts that are just glowing and ethereal, smoky, rather than like solid. That. Just a little bit. Maybe I'll add some more of this to the background. Yeah, adding stuff to the background is going to be really hard to do. Uh, just because this is the nature of painting. I need to make my brush smaller again for this cloud that's up front because the texture is going to be more fine, more distinct. See more of it. It'll feel like you can tell more about the clouds that are up close. That'll make them feel like they're in the foreground, or I guess the midground. This is the midground. This is not the foreground. Um, let's see. Even here, we're gonna add some edges to this smaller one. Make it fluffy. But I can check how the dragons look on these fluffy things. They look weird on the fluffy bits because the dragons are not fluffy. I don't know. I kind of like it. It does feel like the clouds are starting to go off the rails a little bit as far as the design of the clouds. But I do think it's improved. It's just very different from the rest of the painting so far. I think that I'm going to have to go back and edit some of the texture of the ground in order to make this feel like it's one painting rather than, two different paintings smooshed together. Very different brush. I think I'll switch brushes now. Well, actually I need to do some of the inside. I'll take this darker blue, up like this, the background of this cloud. You can't tell too much about this cloud because it is far away, so it's actually, I'm going to make it puff out into the background like this. Completely envelop this part of the sky. I think that it makes it feel like the sky is bigger and the cloud is bigger, which is important. This is supposed to be a big open space, an epic sky. Not just any sky, an epic sky. The painting behind this is going to be difficult. I should have planned out a little bit ahead what I wanted to do with these. I think I only spent 10 minutes on planning. So, off these dragons again, because they're in the way. So I kind of want these clouds, even though I want a similar texture on everything, I kind of want these clouds to have a more designed direction to them. I'm adding a few stamps of this just so that it feels like it's one brush. Um, that's very different. This almost feels like different clouds. Um, I think I'm goofing around a lot with it. Uh, so I want to add a little bit of this texture in other places, but I want to have more lines. I want it to be more graphic than I have it right now. Um, so I'll probably end up adding a few more dark parts of the clouds down here. This, and then add in maybe this color. That. And then on top of those clouds, I'll add a little bit of white. I might have to be more specific with them. Maybe I'll go like this, and then that, and like that. Maybe here, and up here. And this will make the sky feel like there's more stuff going on instead of just three big clouds, which is what it was. It was three big clouds. So we'll have that cloud, we'll have this cloud, that cloud, and that cloud. And with these little strokes on the bottom, you can still tell that they have like these flat-bottomed clouds, these shaped, very shaped clouds. I still want them to have a very structured form. Um, the bottoms, the edge between the shadow and the light part probably wouldn't be that distinct just because clouds are very curvy. So I'd probably take some of the darkness of it and go in with my texture brush with just a few strokes and try to soften it a little bit. Not enough that it breaks down, but just enough to let you know that it is a very soft, fluffy cloud. That. Probably a bigger stamp. I think that I need to make this edge a little more distinct. This will be the kind of like bounce light. It won't be as light, but it'll be a little bit lighter, like that. I don't want this cloud to fade into the background cloud because this one is supposed to be much farther forward. So it'll be lighter. And the bottom will probably have a little bit more of the bounce light color, which is the ground. Um, just a little bit. I don't think the clouds normally pick up too much bounce light from the earth, but uh, uh, it'll make it feel different. It'll make them feel like round, shapely clouds. Good. I think I might add a few more to the background of this cloud. I'm gonna carve out this edge right here, and I'll come down and wrap around, and then I will take my texture brush, and then I will take a little bit of this cloud fluffiness. I will add it behind, maybe even darker than that. That's probably actually too light of a color. Maybe like this one right here. Um, just so it feels like it's almost the clouds are swooping. Oops, that's an eraser. The clouds are. There we go. Clouds are swooping around like that. Um, so this foreground cloud needs to have a very sharp edge right here to make it distinguished from the background, to make it stand out a little bit. So I probably have to keep going in with the lasso tool to kind of achieve a similar texture, but over and over to get this fluffiness, but not with just the texture brush because it's gonna make them bleed together a little bit too much. Because if I